Welcome back to the final section of this title where we're going to be building together a single page application. Through it, we're going to be talking a lot about what idiomatic JavaScript is. We're going to talk about events in React, something we kind of avoided throughout the title so far. And last but not least, we're actually going to build out a fully integrated single page application. Really cool stuff. So let's jump into the first lecture, because in the first lecture we're going to be preparing our environment to be idiomatic. Now, when I'm saying idiomatic, what it actually means is that your JavaScript, especially now that we're working with React and we're not accessing directly the DOM, it doesn't need to know that it's the client application. Beyond that, we really want to separate all the logic that could have been reused on a server, on a mobile device, or any other environment to stand on their own files. Although we're not going to implement specific different types of JavaScripts if it's rendering on the server or rendering in different native environments, we're going to show you how to separate your data logically so they'll be easy for you to then reuse the exact same JavaScript files whenever you need to. So let's see it in action. Okay, we're almost ready to move into the menu, but before we do that, let's first of all, from our last section, let's just make sure that in our footer we undo that children so we don't get that error. And what I want to do in this lecture is I want to go ahead and make our client more JavaScript idiomatic. Now, what does that mean? Well, a lot of the logic that is inside of here could have run on the client and could run on the server. And in reality, what I would like to do is I would like to move all of the logic that relates to the view to its separate view container. So the only thing that really should be here is really the rendering section. So to do that, I'm going to go into my components and let's go ahead and create a new file. And I'm just going to call it that app.js because it's going to be our application. Now, inside of our app.js, what I want to do is I want to basically create a component similar to all the components that we've created so far. So let me go ahead and something similar to our header. I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate our header here. And let's just go into our app.js. And I want to render, of course. Oh, I did render already. So return. And I want to close that, and I want to close that. Beautiful. So the next step for me is to figure out how do I put this logic here. So to do that, I'm just going to take a look at our client. And first of all, what I want to do is take anything that relates to a view that is not that line outside. So first of all of these are stuff that are happening. Let me just cut them. These are things that are related to all of our application. Again, going into our client, let me go ahead and I'm just going to delete here because you already have that in the sources there. I'm going to delete out everything that's not relevant for us right now. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all of that. This is very much relative to us. So let me just grab that and put that in our app here. And our app is literally going to return that item, which in this case is basically a header, a portfolio, and about, and a context section. And we want to finish it all off with our footer. And by the way, did I have here any, let me just double check, did I have here any model? Oh, I definitely did. So I don't want to delete our model data. So let me just delete anything that is not our model data. Okay, so we don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that. Beautiful. And we definitely want to take our footer as well. So let me just take that footer and put it in here to our footer area. So we're getting close. So first of all, we have everything here. Almost. We're just missing the data that needs to be sent through as well. But if we go back into our client here, what I'm going to do now is instead of having this footer section, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to import. What am I going to import? I'm going to import the app itself. So we'll call it app. It's a default item that's being loaded up. So let me just copy here one of those imports, call it app, and call that app. And now I'm ready to go and load in our app. Now, all that's left for me to do, and I could delete all this because it's already inside of our app, all that's really left for me to do to get it to actually work is to send through these data. So we have our portfolio model, we have our footer model. Let's go ahead and also make it all, in the linguistics of the future, which we use let instead of var. Now I'm going to go ahead here and create another let. And here what I want to create is I'm just going to call this our model. And in our model, I want to basically have here an object that is just going to list out different data sources. So first of all, our first data source will be portfolio, and its value is going to be our portfolio model. Beautiful. Our next item is our about, and obviously this is something that we would really want to do for not about. We have here a footer model, so let's set that to be our footer. Okay, so far this is all I've got, but really in reality I'd want to do it to all of our different sections. But let's go ahead and I'm going to send in that data by creating a new property called data, and I'm just going to send in that model, making sure that I'm wrapping it with a curly bracket. Beautiful. Last but not least, that's left for me to do inside of my app itself is just before I render things out to send in the correct information. So here would be this.props.data. What was it? Portfolio. And the next one will be, instead of footer model, will be our footer. Now let's just see that everything still works, and it should theoretically at least. But we have here a little error, so let's see what is our little, big error. So if we go back here to, oh wow, there's a lot of errors. Okay, so here, can't resolve file directory of component. Oh, okay, fair enough. Why is that? That's because we are already in the component folder, so we don't need that components anymore. So we want to strip that out, strip that out, strip that out, and strip that out. Save, and let's give it another shot, and let's see how many errors are we getting. And we have one error. Okay, one error is workable. We're having a problem with our data, so let's see our data. Portfolio. So portfolio, and let's give it another shot. Beautiful. So we're getting everything. All that's really left for us is to create the menu, which we will do in the next lecture. In this lecture, we really grasped the idea of idiomatic JavaScript, although we're not going through the process of showing you how to implement in different environments, which will have other titles, and I'll have other titles covering exactly that about, in general, idiomatic, but it's something that you'll see throughout all of my React titles, where we mention and we integrate idiomatic concepts. In the next lecture, we're going to build out our site navigation.